Namaskar. Today we shall talk about yoga and meditation. I think most of you are familiar with the term yoga. Generally, yoga means some kind of bodily exercise. But that's not the whole thing. Yoga is spiritual activity. Its ultimate aim is emancipation of the soul. So yoga, originated in India, and its main purpose was not bodily health or physical health. Its purpose was to have a spiritual progress and ultimately emancipation of the soul. However, in the path of yoga, the practitioner also derives other benefits like health, happiness, tranquility, and knowledge, which are indicators of progress. So this happens, this is side benefits of yoga, and they also have importance. They indicate that if this happens, that means you are progressing on your practice, and they also provide encouragement to practitioner to continue. And if this happens in your life, you would like to continue with the practice of yoga. Buddhism, Jainism, and other Eastern spiritual traditions use many techniques of yoga. There are several, and you'll find in my book also. The yoga practices were established in Egypt by Indian monks around 3rd to 4th century AD, and in China during 525 AD. So the yoga, went from India to other countries, and from there later in Japan. The Japanese word Zen is derived from the word Dhyan. Dhyan is the technical term for meditation. So Zen, is Japanese term, is similar to Dhyan. The paths of yoga. There are no clear-cut boundaries between the various paths of yoga, and they all draw from the practices and philosophy of others. So yes, there are many types of yoga, and people practice all these things, but it's very difficult to make distinction between from one practice and the other. There are many similarities and many differences. One of the most popular form of yoga is Patanjali yoga, and we shall talk about it in little detail, and then we'll go on to Jain system of yoga. The Patanjali's yoga is known as Ashtanga yoga, in the sense that this practice of yoga has 8 organs or 8 steps. Ashtanga yoga was designed by the great Indian sage and teacher Patanjali nearly 200 years BC. It does not mean that that the yoga was not known before. Yoga was known much before that, but Patanjali systematized it and put it in a very organized form. Patanjali's system of approach to meditation is organized so that it focuses first on the body, next to breathe, then senses, and finally to the mind. A journey from gross to subtle. So during the practice of yoga, we concentrate on some object. So initially we start with the body and then go on to the finer and finer components or constituents of our existence. And ultimately you reach the soul. The 8 steps or organs of yoga are: number 1, yam. There are 5 yams These are non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, chastity, non-accumulation of wealth. These 5 yam are the principles in short, and you can see that they are exactly similar to the Anuvrat practices. So that is the first thing to start with in life if you want to practice yoga. Normally people do not pay any attention to these things and start bodily exercises. So that kind of thing can benefit your body. Yeah, okay. But it has no spiritual importance. So if you are really serious about your spiritual progress, you start with yam. That is, first practice these things in your life: non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, etc. Then the second step is niyam, known as soch, which means purity of meals, body and mind. These are also very important for yoga practitioner. Your meals must be pure, your body must be pure, and your mind must be pure. Pure means, there are no inauspicious kinds of things either in your meals or body or mind. So you have to be very selective in your meals. And one cannot eat non-vegetarian definitely if you want to practice yoga. And then santosh, contentment. You should be content with what you have, and do not have your desires or ambitions to do this, to achieve this, to buy this, to possess this. That kind of ambition has to be given up if you want to have a spiritual progress. Then tap, austerity. Your life must be austere. Swadhyaya, you must indulge in self-study, meditation on self, so that you know yourself, what you are. And Ishvara Pranidhan, you must worship of supreme ruler or God. If you believe in God, you must firmly believe and worship the God. And if you believe in soul, you must firmly believe in soul. So this is the second step, which is as important as the first one. And if you follow these two, your life becomes very simple, and your life becomes very straightforward, so that you are now able to receive the better ideas, or you are able to now concentrate on your main aim of yoga. The third step is asana, or postures. This is what is normally practiced and popularized. You have various kind of bodily exercises. They are good for your health, but this comes at the third step in the yoga practice. And then fourth, pranayama, regulated breathing exercises. That also you must be familiar. The breathing exercises are also very important. And so these two, asana and pranayama, is normally practiced. And the rest of the things are forgotten, Then the fifth one is a pratyahara, steadiness of mind. You should be able to study your mind so that you apply it to the things which you should do in yoga practice. If your mind is not steady and is wandering, and then you will not be able to concentrate on the object of yoga. Then dharana, objective meditation, and dhyan, meditation. So dharana and dhyan, they are similar steps. So first you must be objective and have a determination, and then you meditate in a certain way, which must be taught to you by a teacher. And the last is samadhi. This is the advanced stage of meditation. And in this stage, in fact, one is unites with the soul, So then you are with your soul and nobody else. So you forget about the body, forget about the world, and you are one with the soul. It's a samadhi. Samadhi is the state of super consciousness, the ultimate possible stage a human can arrive when one experiences the self, You should be able to, we talk of self, we talk of soul, but we are not one with the soul. In order to that you are one with the soul, that means then you are not one with any other thing, in the world. That's the state. In samadhi, non-duality or oneness is experienced. This is the deepest and highest state of consciousness where body and mind have been transcended and yogi is one with the self or God. Those who believe in God, they consider themselves to be one with the God. And those who believe in soul only, like Jain philosophy, then you are one with the soul. This is the highest stage, and it is very difficult to achieve, unless you have gone through all these stages and practice them continuously for a very long period of time. We shall also talk a little bit more about pranayama, because this is also commonly practiced. The branch of science of yoga which describes as to how breath can be controlled and utilized to produce wonderful results is called pranayama. Pranayama, to draw in prana. Prana is not simple breathe, that's number one, So when we are doing some breathing exercise, you inhale air, exhale air, that kind of exercise is being done. But that's not prana. Air is not prana. Prana is different from air which you breathe in and breathe out. Prana is a subtle entity. We talked of energy body, tejas body, So that is the source of prana. So you actually draw in prana, which is in the subtle form, known as a tejas vargana in Jainism, When I talked about it when we discussed about varganas. So those varganas which are present in the entire cosmos, they are also present all around you. So when you are doing a breathing exercise, you are drawing in those varganas, those pranas into your body. They mix up with your tejas energy body, and from there they pass on to the gross body and energize your gross body. And then so you have all the effects of pranayama on your gross body. So there is a system, which is taking place when you are doing this exercise of pranayama. Prana is not simple breathe, as I said. In the Upanishads, it is defined as the cause of all motion and life in both the organic and inorganic worlds. So all that the prana, we are alive because of prana, and that I discussed with you last in one of the class. But the Upanishads go a little further, and it says not only the living bodies, even the inorganic substances, their energy is due to prana. This is what it says, It is the mother of all forces, whether psychical, chemical and physical. This is the concept, in Upanishad. Pranayama is used in yoga as a separate practice to help clear and cleanse the body and mind, So these are the advantages of pranayama, even if you are not following all the 8 stages of Patanjali. It is also used in preparation of meditation and in asana and the practice of postures to help maximize the benefits of the practice and focus the mind. So the pranayama has great benefits with respect to body and with respect to your mind. mind becomes focused. Mind consisting of thoughts and emotions is closely related to the breath. This I think everyone experiences. When the mind is calm and relaxed, breathing is smooth and slow. And if you are stressed, breathing is fast and shallow, and mostly through chest. So this kind of thing, you can experience in a life. When one gets angry, breathing becomes fast and forceful. In depressed states, sighing, when in pain, grasping, and in anxiety, breathing is shallow and rapid. In this way, the mental and emotional states affect breathing. So breathing is very much connected with our emotional states. The total capacity of our lungs is about 6000 cc, cubic centimeter. But during normal breathing, we can only breathe about 600 cc of air per breath into our lungs, about 1/10 of the total capacity. In deep breathing, the practitioner can inhale up to the total capacity of the lungs, which increases breathing efficiency per breath. The normal breath rate is 15 to 18 breaths per minute, but in deep breathing, the rate is reduced to about 4 to 8 breaths per minute. So if you have a deep breathing exercise, the frequency of breathing goes down, but you then inhale a lot more air from atmosphere. Advanced practitioners of yoga are said to be able to stop breathing for an hour or more without discomfort. Don't try this. This requires practice and a teacher, So you can withhold your breath. This is done in the pranayama many times, but this must again be done under the guidance of a teacher. And you can withhold your breath, and this period can be as long as 1 hour. This is amazing. Proper practice of pranayama can control almost any disease, but improper practice may have adverse effect, So that is why there is a need for a proper teacher. Benefits of commonly practiced pranayama are, there are various types of pranayama. We cannot discuss that in this class, but what I have mentioned here is the advantages or the benefits one derives with a particular type of pranayama. For example, Bhastrika pranayama. It helps in heart, lungs, brain, depression, migraine, paralysis, neural system. Then Kapalbhati pranayama. It increases shine on your face, helps in obesity, constipation, gastric, acidity, cirrhosis, liver, cholesterol, allergic problems, asthma, snoring, concentration, etc. You look here, look at the benefits you can have with pranayama practice. Bharya pranayama. It's helpful for stomach, hernia, urinal, uterus, and those kinds of problems. Then Anulom Vilom pranayama. It's helpful for heart, high BP, heart blockage, arthritis, sinus fluid, reduced paralysis, neural related problems, depression, migraine, pain, asthma, sinus, allergy, etc. And then lastly I given a Brahmari pranayama, and it helps you to fight tension, hypertension, high BP, heart blockage, paralysis, migraine pain, confidence, concentration, and so on. What are these pranayams? I am not telling you, you have to consult your teacher. Although I can do it, but not possible in this class. So this is a little about pranayama and their benefits. Then there is a concept of nadis and chakras, that also you must know. As we breathe, prana is drawn into the nose and is distributed in the body by specific unseen channels called nadis. So nadis are energy channels in our body. So the prana which we are drawing in, that prana is being distributed all over the body through these channels which are called nadis. There is the main nadi system which connects the 7 major chakras. Chakras are consciousness or energy centers located on the spinal part of our body. So they have a concentrated energy at those locations, and so this energy is then is distributed through 72,000 other different nadis. So there is one main nadi system, and from there it is distributed through other nadis throughout the body. Chakras form the major nerve ganglia of an extraordinary circuitry of nadis. So there is a connection between nadis and chakras. Nadis, as I told you, are energy channels, and chakras are energy centers. So energy channels that link together our animal body with our subtle bodies. What these chakras or the energy centers are doing, they are connecting our physical body or this material body with other subtle bodies, for example, Tejas body. So that connection is made through chakras. Chakras form the major nerve ganglia. I have already told you. The 7 major chakras reside and work in the cerebrospinal, that is brain spine system, inside the spinal column, and are connected to the main nadi system, Sushumna. And this is where the chakras control the functioning of the entire body. So there is a main nadi system and chakras energy centers, and from the energy centers, the prana or prana energy is flowing to the different parts of the body. So the entire function of the body that way is controlled by chakras. There are 7 chakras, main chakras. There are more, but there are 7 main type. One is known as a root chakra, or what we call as a Muladhara chakra. This is at the base of spine, and it vibrates with the energy of safety and security. Then there is a sacral chakra. This is at the genital place and holds the energy of sex, procreation and creativity. Then there is a solar chakra. At the solar plexus, carries the energy of emotional expression. Heart chakra at the heart, it vibrates love. Throat, at the throat, it holds the energy of communication. Brow, at the third eye, it holds the energy for insight, awareness and wisdom. Then crown, at the top of our head, it helps us open to our spirituality. This is a place of seat of spirituality. These 7 chakras are very important, and they are used in meditation practice. One tries to meditate on these chakras to derive various kinds of benefits. The main nadi system is divided into 3 nadis, of which one channel called Sushumna is centrally located and rises in the spinal column. So through the spinal, it rises up, starting from the root chakra. And the 2 channels, Ida and Pingala, are in the brain. So there are 3 main nadis. So 2 of them are in the brain and 1 in the spine. Chakras have a definite relationship to the physical body and its functions. Each of the first 5 major chakras is connected to a specific sense organ and stores psychological energy, which then flows to all 7 major chakras from one chakra to another when activated by the breath. So breathing activates these chakras and the flow of energy takes place. In this table, I have given you what is the connection between the various chakras and our body organs and glands. For example, the crown chakra is associated with upper brain and right eye, and it connects with the pineal gland. Broad chakra is connected with ears, nose, lower brain, nervous system and left eye, and to the pituitary gland. That way I have given the connections of all 7 chakras here with various organs and various glands. Now we talk something about Jain Yoga. The yoga is practiced in Jainism also. So in Jainism, yoga has 2 connotations. Number one is samadhi, which we talked of, and other is a samyog, union, that is, which connects or means. So one is samadhi, of course, is a state, which you achieve, which is the highest state. But another is connection, union kind of thing, union between 2 things. In ancient Jain scriptures, the word yoga has been used generally for activities of mind, speech and body. So these activities which we are carrying out in our life almost continuously is termed as yoga in Jainism. And this actually means union or uniting. When you are doing these activities, in fact, a union is established between the body and the soul. So, yoga is a means of uniting our gross body to soul. This is yoga. Uma Swati or Uma Swami in Tattvartha Sutra, I did tell you about it, says that the right belief or attitude, right knowledge or understanding and right conduct, the 3 combined and simultaneously imbibed and followed will put the aspirant on right path, making his life journey happy, peaceful, harmonious and eventually lead to salvation, the state of highest purity and enlightenment. So the samadhi which we were talking earlier, the path in case of Jain tradition is defined in a little different manner. The path is through right belief, right knowledge, right conduct. And we shall talk about this aspect in our next lecture in detail. But remember, the most important part of yoga in Jainism is these 3 things, And they had to be practiced very scrupulously, and very seriously and very honestly in order that you progress towards liberation. Jain Acharyas, yoga scholars adapted more or less the 8 stages of Patanjali. As far as that practice is concerned, the Patanjali's 8 steps are followed. The yoga system with changed or unchanged nomenclature and necessary modification in conformity with Jain tenets. So those 8 stages are accepted, but little bit modification is done according to the Jain principles. In Jainism, there is a mandatory emphasis on purity of mind, speech and body. This is very highly emphasized, of self and also ambient environment. You should also have a good environment where you want to practice this thing. The 12 austerities, which we will talk in the next lecture, 6 external and 6 internal, are practices to cleanse mind and body. So what are these austerity practices? We will talk in the next lecture, but they are part of yoga. There is mention of postures in scriptures, so that is also there in Jainism. Kaya klesh is a term used in Jain tradition. It implies practices of sitting, standing, sleeping, etc. To condition the body to tolerate hardship or discomfort while undertaking various activities and practices of yoga. So, the bodily exercises, and these exercises could be in the sitting posture or standing posture or sleeping posture and so on, and this is essential in order that you are able to practice yoga without any discomfort, remember, So one must have enough practice and control on these postures so that he can sit or sleep or stand for hours together without feeling any discomfort. Pranayama has been described in Jain scriptures essentially in the same way as the Vedic scriptures. Subha Chandracharya, in his text Jnanarnav, says that a yogi who has won over the senses by practicing pranayama can destroy his intense demerits or pap accumulated over hundreds of births within 48 minutes. See the power of pranayama. If you are able to master this technique, you are able to eradicate your karmas. But he also states that a practitioner may feel pain during the period of retention of breath inside or outside, that is the kumbhak, this is another term which is coming to you. Kumbhak, is withholding the breath either inside or outside. But this can be painful sometime, If it is painful, then it does not give the spiritual result, And during such periods, there is a possibility of artha dhyan. Your attention, is focused on something else. In which case, a knowledgeable person also may divert away from the very goal of pranayama. So, if you are feeling a discomfort or pain during the exercise of pranayama, please stop, don't do it. Pratyahara is a very important step and enjoins on the aspirant to control and withdraw the mind from indulgence in objects of five senses of touch, taste and so on. So, pratyahara means, that you withdraw your senses, your attention from senses and direct it inwards towards your soul, This is pratyahara. You apply restraint on your senses. Then dhyan. Dhyan is contemplation, concentration. Dharana and dhyan, contemplation, concentration and samadhi. These three steps are progressive stages intensifying gradually from concentration on an object, continuing it as contemplation, and intensification or complete absorption is identification. You are absorbed in your soul. You identify with your soul. That is samadhi. In Jain system of yoga, there is great emphasis on meditation, and it is not confined to just sitting and contemplating, but also implies undertaking all activities of mind, speech and body with awareness and mindfulness. All the time you are aware of something, you are not going away from consciousness. The Jain tradition, in Jain tradition, meditation also denotes attentiveness. So you must be attentive when you are meditating. There are four types of attentiveness: artha dhyan, rodra dhyan, dharma dhyan and shukla dhyan. The first two are unwholesome and do not constitute meditation, and the last two are purposeful and lead to liberation. Artha dhyan means many people continuously worry about their painful and unhappy situations in the past. Such mental worrying is termed as artha dhyan. You are able all the time worried about your past experiences. Rodra dhyan, maintaining the violent, untruthful, stealthy and sensual mode of life constitutes the Rodra dhyan, And in this state, a person not only resorts to wrong and violent means, but he is also enjoying such actions, Then the dharma. These two, Artha Dhyana and Rodra Dhyana, inauspicious, they are not really dhyana. Then Dharma Dhyana. Dharma is a very important term in Jainism. Dharma has several connotations. It means religion, it also means duty, it also means natural property of the soul or any other substance, and therefore can be defined differently. One of the significant definition of dharma that it means natural property of the object, any object. So any property of the object is the dharma of that object. In the light of this definition, dharma dhyan means contemplating about the nature of the soul. That is contemplation that leads to self-realization. Dharma dhyan can be resorted to in the following four forms. How can do dharma dhyan? There are four methods. The first is agya vichaya. This term is explained here. This means to ponder over the precepts and teachings of the Lord Mahavira, which mainly refer to the inherently blissful nature of the soul, impact of karma on the worldly soul, and ways to get rid of karma. So you concentrate on these aspects. Then apaya vichaya. This means pondering over the causes of distress and unhappiness. Why these things are there in your life, think about it. One contemplates that distress and unhappiness arise on account of inauspicious karma. Such contemplation can help in refraining from undertaking anything that would result in unhappiness. So one would then avoid the inauspicious type of karma. Then vipak vichaya. This means to contemplate that each type of karma extends its consequences. So if you are binding karma, you have to face the consequences of this karma sometime in your life or later life. Then sansthan vichaya. This means contemplating about the universe and its constituents and distinguishing soul from matter. So you look at the universe and they say, look here, this is not me. I am different from this universe. Then the last type of dhyan is Shukla Dhyan. The Shukla Dhyan is the highest kind of meditation. It denotes perfect meditation. This type of meditation is possible only for spiritually advanced monks who have considerably reduced their patience, the anger, ego, deceit, greed, and those emotions. Unless you reduce them in your life, you cannot have the perfect meditation. Then we talk of a particular type of meditation practice known as a praksha meditation. Praksha means to perceive. So praksha dhyan or praksha meditation is the system of meditation engaging one's mind fully in the perception of the subtle internal and innate phenomena of consciousness. So one should be able to perceive what is happening inside the body and then go from gross level to the final level. This technique is basically not concentration of thought, but concentration of perception. Thought is something different. Thought is entirely different from perception. To know and to perceive are the characteristics of consciousness, we already know. The mind is the instrument of thinking as well as perception. Both the things are achieved with the help of mind. And therefore, when linked with praksha dhyan or praksha meditation, it becomes a concentration of perception and not perception of thought. Thought means you are thinking. You are thinking of past, present, future. So your mind is wandering. Perceive means you are perceiving what is at present. So you exist in present time. This is the importance of perception. This is because perception is strictly concerned with the phenomena of the present. It is neither a memory of the past nor an imagination of the future. And that is the property of the thought. One commences the practice of this technique with the perception of the body both body space contains soul, So how do you start the practice? You start with the perceiving the soul, because the soul contains the body. If you perceive soul, you are in fact proceeding towards, perceiving the soul. Again, breathing is the process of body and essence of life. So then you start perceiving the breathe. So breathe is the life, and so breathe is naturally qualified to be first object of our perception, while the body itself would become the next one. The vibration, sensation, other physiological events are worthy of our attention. Our conscious mind becomes sharpened to perceive these internal realities in due course, and then it will be able to focus itself on the minute and the most subtle occurrences within the body. So you start from the gross level and go to the final body. Perceive body first, then must have enough practice. Perceive breathe, then perceive the inside part of your body, and then you should be able to perceive the subtle bodies, the Karman body and Tejas body. It's possible. The direct perception of emotions, urges, and other psychological events will then be possible. And ultimately, the envelope of karmic matter could be perceived. As stated above, our conscious mind is capable of two categories of functions, thinking and perceiving, but it is capable of being engaged. It is incapable of being engaged in both. You can either perceive or think, both are not possible simultaneously. Exclusive perception of a single object can thus become an efficient tool for studying the ever wandering mind. So if you are able to practice Praksha Dhyan, you will be able to silence or study your mind. Similarly, when one concentrate on the perception of his internal phenomena, such as sensations, vibrations, or even thoughts, he will realize that the mind has stopped its usual meandering and is fully engaged in perception. Continued concentrated perception of intrinsic processes will ultimately enable one to perceive the subtle bodies. In Praksha, perception always means experience bereft of the duality of likes and dislikes. This of course comes at a later stage, that you do not experience duality, you experience oneness. The main purpose practice of Praksha Dhyan is to purify the mental states. When the mind is clean, peace of mind automatically surfaces. Then you have a peaceful state. Balance of mind, equanimity, and the state of well-being are also experienced simultaneously. So Praksha Dhyan is very beneficial, advantageous. Ultimate aim of this practice is, of course, equanimity, freedom from contaminated passion. So you should be able to do away with your karmas and have a unity with the soul. So we have to transcend both these mental states to reach the ultimate purpose, the total purity of mind and goodness. I'll briefly mention here the yoga and health. What are the health benefits of yoga? There are large benefits of yoga on health. Yoga helps in attainment of mental and physical well-being, and yoga has lot to offer in terms of preventive, promotive, and rehabilitative methods, in addition to many management methods to tackle emerging challenges like obesity, diabetes, heart, joint, and psychosomatic disorders. And the lifestyle that includes yam and niyam can also help prevent great many of the modern diseases. Then the cleanliness, such can help to prevent and limit the spread of contagious and infectious diseases. mental peace and right approach of yoga, such as equanimity of mind and dispassionate detachment, can help prevent many of the psychosomatic ailments. And these yogic values, so if you practice asana, pranayam, kriyas, dhyan, are included in the modern human race, we can prevent virtually all diseases which are present. And yoga also teaches you about your food habits, what to eat, what not to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, and so on. So there are lot many advantages of practicing yoga. Thank you.